welcome to Sunrise Extra on a very, very wet Friday. We hope you're doing okay. My gutters are just overflowing on one side of our house where our neighbor's oak tree is. Yeah, it's just full of leaves. So that's been super loud. The drive into work, a little dicey. Yeah.
I was fortunate coming in at 3:30ish this morning on I-5 from about Terwilliger down to downtown. I literally passed nobody and nobody passed me the entire way.
Are you serious?
Yes, like on
Because
I-5.
I was driving, so I drive them all. I drive I-205 north, I drive I-84 west, I hit part of I-5 and I-405.
Right.
I'm like, where are all these people coming from? I think all those people usually speed by, but because the recommended speed today on the roads was 45 miles an hour, we caught up together and the road spray was everywhere. This Friday was busier than I've seen it since I started commuting from Happy Valley.
Wow, well, that was probably like 2:30 a.m. knowing you, right? I mean, that was early.
Yeah, that was probably about 20 till 3. Yeah.
All right. That's nuts because I had the exact opposite situation on I-5 South.
Yeah. It's weird though, Chris, because we talk about puddles. I feel like that's not a puddle. It is literally
a lake.
Yeah, kind of. It's just like this
pond.
Small,
But now it's over the whole surface of the freeway, not just everywhere.
I swear the Markham Bridge does not drain well at all because when it rains heavily, like there's like a half-inch stream of water coming down over the entire road deck as you're climbing that ramp up onto the Markham Bridge.
I mean, you kind of get one of these when you get in that
saw
groove.
areas of standing water that and we live in a place that it rains. You see puddles all the time. You kind of get used to them. Like, oh, there's my old friend. Oh, I know where that one is. Right? But today there were lots more of them.
Yeah.
And I saw people hitting those at 50 miles an hour and doing this and suddenly slamming on the brakes, which, again, you're not supposed to do. Don't drive through water, all those things, but we forget these things when you're on autopilot in the morning. So just the good rules.
So what are we at right now?
We are over 2 inches at PDX for the event so far. We're over 2 inches, 2+ since yesterday morning. I need to go up and double check the rain gauge because.
You're saying we might
inside baseball, but
we might be 3, right?
We might be nearing 3, depending on. I've got to double check something upstairs. Okay. We do have a rain gauge upstairs.
Put on the rain gear.
Do you want to come with me and do this morning?
Do I want?
You were just worried about that little half an ounce of seltzer water Drew was going to spill on you.
But there's a rain gauge on our roof that you and Rod and Matt keep track of.
Yes. Yes, every night we go up for an official measurement.
I always wonder, how big is the bucket? Like, how big around?
Okay, so the bucket itself is like the catch bucket is about yay big, and then it funnels through an opening like yay big, and then there's a beaker about this tall and about 3 inches in diameter, and we put a ruler in it, and we just do the old read from the bottom of the meniscus like they taught you in chemistry class, like what and and then we keep the official records for downtown Portland, and KGW has done that for decades.
So we're talking like over 12 hours of steady rain that you're forecasting today.
Pretty much steady, and it won't be intense all 12 hours, but it will not shut off at all in those 12 hours.
It was intense last night in our neighborhood at I think it was 9 p.m. I fell asleep on the couch. About 9 o'clock, woke up, and my wife was watching TV right there. I'm like, what is that noise? Like, it was loud. I'm like, oh, that is the rain hitting the windows. Like, it was coming down big time.
Hitting our skylight this morning as I was getting ready. I'm like, ooh, this is going to be a fun drive.
Yeah.
So we don't have like a hot button topic question for you to answer this morning, but if you want to share how wet it's been in your neighborhood, please do. We just thought weather made sense to talk about since it was the driving force behind our TV show this morning, and since I know whatever you have planned for this weekend, you always want to know what's the weather going to be like during that. So unless you have a topic, or pardon me, Brenda, a comment you want to share right now, I was going to ask Chris about kind of the weekend forecast, the outlook for the next couple of days after we get past today.
Saturday looks good. I mean, there is good. As rainy as it is going to be today, the models are pretty steadfast in showing an abrupt end to the rain sometime between about 5 and 7. That doesn't necessarily help the evening commute because the damage will probably be done by that point. But overnight we dry out. Probably wake up to some fog tomorrow. I think most of tomorrow's dry. I don't know how much sun we're going to see, but most of the day tomorrow's dry.
Not bad.
Next week looks good too.
Monday is going to be wet. Monday's going to be another really wet day, and then after that, Tuesday and beyond look fairly dry, and then the models get a little funky out once we get out towards Thursday and Friday. One goes dry into next weekend, the other brings another storm system right at us, so not ready to go venture past my 7-day forecast.
Okay.
at this
Yeah,
point,
we
but-
have been seeing some issues. We had some video that Multnomah County Sheriff's tweeted out of the East Columbia River Highway up in the gorge. It's between Larch Mountain and Multnomah Falls. There's been a couple of rock slides in that area.
219 is still closed in Washington County, west of the Shoals area, actually near the intersection with Shoals. There's some down trees there. That's been closed since early this morning, and there's also some down trees on, my goodness, Mountaindale Road.
That's right.
Just north of Highway 26. That remains closed.
Yeah, and we're watching some power outages. PGE has about 800 customers right now without power. Pacific Power, their outages almost 2,400 right now in the 7 a.m. hour. They're primarily in the Salem-Corvallis area. But yeah, this video taken near Interstate and North Russell in Portland. Look at all that standing water. Our viewer said a couple of cars did stall out because of that. I got on 80 with a limousine. What the? Have you guys seen a limo
It's
in
got
a
some
long
good
time?
watertight seals
only
on there.
I haven't seen a limo in like a
and
long
prom
time. That
night.
was surprising.
I just watched that Seinfeld episode where the guy, the Russian writer, throws Elaine's phone out the window and hits someone in the head out of the
Yeah.
limousine. Anyway, that's what. As soon as you said, "Have you seen the limousine?" I was like, "Yeah, on Seinfeld 2 nights ago."
Anyway,
Willie
I was.
Huey.
Oh, sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go.
No,
Nope.
you go
It's
first.
not important. I promise.
I think
go
it
ahead.
is.
Willie Huey, good morning to you. Happy Friday. He says, drove up to Seattle and back last night. It was real intense most of the way. Centralia felt like I was in a car wash.
Are they getting it worse than
bet.
we are?
Well, so this thing was this atmospheric river was targeted at Western Washington. For it kind of swept through us early, late Wednesday night, and then focused to the north. And it stalled to the north for hours and hours and hours. Mount Rainier picked up 6 or 7 inches of rain last night. Now that thing is slowly, the fire hose is slowly shifting south, and now it's pointed right at Northwest Oregon this morning, and probably will be for the next 12 hours. I cannot imagine driving on an interstate through that for hours at a time. That's just awful.
Atmospheric river. Is this a weather term that you are familiar with or have been familiar with? You've heard it for years?
Yeah, I hear the meteorologists say it all the time. You know what I haven't
It's
heard
a
you
new
say?
term.
Is pineapple
It's the
express.
same thing.
It
They're the
is.
same thing. Yeah. It's
We're trying to be sensitive to those pineapples
Well,
now.
no, yeah, I know. Let's not start taking aim at Hawaii here for any reason. It's some new terminology to help, I guess, try to be a little bit more like, what is this? What does Pineapple Express mean? Atmospheric river. Suddenly, I start thinking about water. Maybe
Yeah.
it makes a little bit more
No,
sense.
yes.
It is literally a ribbon, a stream, a narrow channel of very high water-laden air.
And warm.
And typically
Mild.
pretty warm.
Yeah.
Typically pretty warm. And these things, they evolve. They're dynamic. They change intensities. They're kind of like a storm. Some people think they should be given categories, and actually a research group out of, I want to say, UC Davis a couple years ago did a joint study with the National Weather Service trying to come up with categorizing these events, kind of like a Cat 5 hurricane.
Yeah.
You know what you're in for. Well, imagine if we started saying, hey, we're up for a Cat 4 atmospheric river. I mean, you get used to the terminology, and suddenly that starts to mean things. And so they actually do assign numerical values to these events now. It's kind of lost in the meteorological world. We need to do a better job probably of how we convey that to the public, but they're important because these types of events, they're not new. They're not new at all. They've been happening since the beginning of time. But they dictate probably 50 to 75% of our rainfall, because this is not the nice, light, gentle Oregon rain. This is like, when we say the fire hose is pointed at you, you know what that means. Well, that's what this is. And these types of atmospheric river events drive a lot of our heavy winter precipitation. So it's good terminology, and we as a weather team and as a community probably need to do a really good job of explaining exactly what it is.
I think you just did.
So we want to show you, look at this graphic, Chris, because he and I were talking about this in
The
the
pipe.
newsroom. So the big pipe, that is the name for Portland's
Yucky pipe.
kind of, and this was meant to help
Combined
things,
sewer.
to prevent raw sewage from
has
leaking
worked.
into the
Yes.
river. But scroll back up, you guys, because you see there, it is now at 100% Full.
Okay,
As of
capacity, yep.
6:30 this morning.
Yeah.
They update this every 15 minutes. So, yes, that means that
be a
there is sewage
sewer
and mix of
overflow
stormwater that
into-
overflows into the river.
Yeah. So
Is
don't
that a
go to the
guarantee
Lemon
when it
River.
gets to 100%?
Absolutely. Yeah, they have to. It happens probably 15 times a year. It used
Mm-hmm.
to happen 30 or 50 times a year.
We got to be careful with those numbers, unless you absolutely are sure
Oh,
of that.
no, no, no,
because
no.
we will
I'm-
get corrected in a heartbeat.
With all due respect to the Bureau of Environmental Services in Portland, it may
So
be
here you
down
guys
to
go.
5.
Okay, I think it is in the single digits.
It used to be an enormous amount.
Yes.
That project did cut them back a lot, and of course that's significant because of the environmental damage. And every time it does happen, by the way, the city gets fined by the EPA for the
Overflows used to occur about 50 times a year. They do have an advisory listed as of 6:40 this morning that yes, it has overflowed.
Okay.
Due to the possibility of bacteria, avoid contact with the river until
And then use your
advisory is
pets.
lifted.
Keep it, don't let your dog out at Cathedral Park or in the water.
No,
et cetera.
I see Stan Walker. Is that Stanford Walker? Did he
I think so,
change
yeah.
his handle?
Huh.
He's asking about the West Hills, which is where I used to live. And my God, the landslides down there, they've got them
Oh,
shored up
Skyline
on
Boulevard, they're
Burnside,
everywhere.
Skyline.
Burnside,
We haven't heard of anything, though, in the West Hills.
I haven't seen anything on. I've been
Yet.
tracking that
Okay.
so far, not yet.
A quick-witted remark from Mr. Brett. Going to the Bible for this one. He says, has anyone there on the set, does anyone have any ark building experience? Because he says he thinks he saw animals lining up 2 by 2 in his neighborhood.
My mom sent us that book. Sent us a book, and I actually read that to Patrick the other night.
What's the book?
Noah's
The Bible?
Yeah.
Man, that must have been a long read. Are you still awake, Patrick? Turning to the New Testament. That's not the book he meant.
No, it's just a little it's just a little fable version of it, but yeah.
That's hilarious.
Anyways, Bible time with Chris and Patrick. I did see Susan, love the Susan Decker, Soosan. She says she needs the rain to stop soon because she says her cat got out and there's no way the cat will come home when it's raining that hard. I think basically the cat probably
He's
goes
hiding
somewhere
under
and hides.
a deck somewhere.
Yeah, no
He's-
doubt.
yeah.
Christy Shirk says it's been windy and raining hard at the coast. We might be looking at some high water.
Do we have any coast sky cams that we
Oh,
could take,
Newport.
like Newport or Cannon Beach?
We had sideways
Byron?
rain there all morning.
That might be kind of interesting
to watch.
now that the sun is up.
Yeah, Renee
Fun
Glessing
to-
says my backyard is becoming a lake. Mother Nature. You can turn off the sprinklers anytime.
Now we've got a stall in the Vista Ridge Tunnel.
Oh, fun times.
Expect delays there, up to 20 minutes. Closed the right lane.
We have a viewer who I haven't seen before on the stream, Joanne, wondering, did we really change the term Pineapple Express to Atmospheric River because we were afraid to insult the pineapples? And someone's like, no, no, no. They
a
just
joke.
wanted to be more descriptive in the terminology.
Yes.
Oh, Dean Coppage, beautiful sunny morning in Tucson. He says, arrived 3 days ago from Lincoln City. Sorry for you folks. Keep your powder dry. Look at that coastal cam, Newport, Yaquina Bay there, socked in.
I have no problem going longer on Sunrise Extra today. In fact, I'll go as long as the three of you want to go. But did we have to end it early today for some reason? I thought you guys were talking about that earlier.
No, I was just talking about we've got lots of weather stuff. I thought we might have some live cameras for our Today Show cut in.
Got it.
We wanted to take a peek at.
All
Yeah,
right.
I just popped up and saw that Newport sky cam. Let's see.
Let's see what
Cassie Taylor, one of our producers, who's off today, chiming in on the stream. Yo, Cassie, you can't get enough of us, can you? Cassie says lots of rain in her neighborhood. She's up there in North Portland. She says, what I'm not a fan of is the humidity that is happening in my house.
Like condensation on the windows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 60 degrees.
Yeah, it's very juicy air.
Juicy.
The dew point is way on up there. It's very, very humid.
Did we hear from, or has anyone read Christy Shirk's comments this morning?
I did one.
Christy's back with a second because did you ask her what part of the coast she lives at?
I didn't.
Okay, I was wondering that when I saw your first comment. She's near Barview. I don't know if you're all familiar with that part of the coast, but she says we need a camera out there. She just talked about how it is still raining hard there in her parts of the coast.
Do we have any traffic cameras that could show Highway 26
2.1 inches of rain since the.
It is backed up from the Vista Ridge Tunnel to 217. They cleared that crash,
I can
but
dial that up if you give me 30 seconds. I
Yeah,
can
we'll
make
go ahead and do
happen.
that.
Let's go do that. Okay, I'm
All
gonna
right.
go. I'm gonna go. Just we'll do our. Let you know what the. By the way.
Why don't you go check that rain gauge while you're at
We've
it?
had, for that I got to go put the rain gear on and go
Okay.
upstairs, and I really don't want to do that
Fair
right now,
enough.
Drew, but if you want to
Fair-
volunteer
no,
to do it with me,
no,
that you can come
just check
join
the
me.
traffic, that's
We've
fine.
had 3 crashes on the freeway this morning in about, 45, 50 minutes on I-5 between 217 and I-405. So, yeah, thank you, Jess. Let's go ahead and surf through the cameras and let's see what we're looking at here. I'm going to go ahead and dial these all up right now.
Just to give people perspective, you've walked into the newsroom. We can hear our newsroom buddies behind you. I wish we had a camera.
Everyone
to see
else
them.
chatting.
Terrible, but it is definitely slowing down. That's 26.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't look terrible. You're right. And we've been encouraging people to basically drive slower like this all morning long, because that's really going to. Chris, you were talking in our pre-show meeting at about 3:45 this morning, how you were predicting X number of accidents here and there.
Oh my God,
because
I
you've
did say
covered
that,
this
didn't
for
I?
so long.
I said there's going to be 3 crashes. There's going to be guaranteed crashes on I-5, and although they weren't where I said they were going to be.
But the fact of the matter is, I mean, a lot of those could be avoided, right? If people did give themselves more time and they did slow down. And sometimes you don't slow down because you didn't give yourself enough time. It's all one and the same.
I've seen a couple people wondering, they hear 2 to 3 inches of rain since maybe Wednesday night, and I kind of thought the same thing. I'm like, oh, that doesn't seem like. You hear of other parts of the country of like they got 2 inches of rain in an hour or something like that. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it feels like we've gotten a lot.
It's not the torrential thunderstorm downpour that they get. Well, I mean parts of Oregon get them, but mostly east of the Rockies, right? I mean, they can get inches and inches of rain in an hour.
Okay.
Because the atmosphere just doesn't have that much. There are other factors that drive those kinds of rainfall rates. But what we have is a steady, relentless, moderate rain, and that's what an atmospheric river event is. It is a long channel of moisture that's 1,000, 2,000 miles long,
Right.
and it's just kind of targeting one area for hours and hours and hours. So it can rain heavier.
Yep.
But it's never shutting off here, and that's where our rainfall starts to really add up.
It's not the biggest punch you could throw at someone, but it's a punch that never stops.
Yes.
Just
There you go.
Jab, 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 jab,
There's
jab.
your radar, Chris.
Yeah, I did run the. So we've got various tools, and one of them allows us to look at radar estimated rainfall rates, and the oranges and reds that you see on there are indicative of like upwards of 0.8 of an inch of rain an hour. Now, it's not going to rain at that rate the whole hour or whatever, but you're getting pockets of like 1/10 of an inch an hour, and then all of a sudden for 20 minutes it'll rain at 1/2 an inch an hour, and then it'll go back to 1/10 of an inch an hour. But it's 1/10 of an inch an hour is still reasonable rain for the Northwest. And now I'm getting into numbers, and I feel like I'm boring myself. So.
Veronica Gaston has a question. I'm not sure if you know. I know you've kind of generally talked about rivers in the area, but she lives in La Grande off Highway 18, and she was wondering how bad the South Yamhill River is doing. South Yamhill River.
South Yamhill River. She's La Grande?
Mm-hmm.
No,
I'm sorry, Grand Ronde.
Grand Ronde.
Grand Ronde. Okay,
my
it's gonna
bad.
say, that is not even. It is not in flood stage. I can say that. The only 3 rivers that are at flood stage right now in our viewing area: the Grays River up in Wahkiakum County, the Nehalem River, and the Wilson River in Tillamook County. And those are typical bellwethers for like if a river is going to flood, this is probably going to be the one. It's not widespread flooding, and it's not like severe flooding or anything like that. So we have our tributaries do have space to take on a little bit more water, but not a whole lot more. So it's good that we're going to get a break tonight.
You guys walked around, or you took a walk out in the rain, you said yesterday.
My daughter and I went yesterday. The rainy weather so far this fall has not stopped us from doing anything. We just throw on the rain jacket and the ball cap, and out we go. I mean, the one time that I didn't actually put on gear that was waterproof, I was literally, I could barely hold up my pants because they were so waterlogged. I was like, this is a bad idea. But once you have the gear, it's no problem.
Do you notice that it's true that like Oregonians don't
don't use. Did you bring this up? We don't
no, that
use
was Devin.
umbrellas.
Do we or
me.
do we not use
No.
umbrellas?
You use umbrellas?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so does my wife,
Absolutely.
big time.
I never carry
100%.
them around.
You know, now, do you get one of those little ones, or do you get the big golf one, or do you get those new ones that look like a helmet? That,
Oh,
like,
that's really coming down tight
like,
around you?
Those seem like really functional. I might have to
they
get
do.
myself one of those.
Yeah,
I don't-
have a regular.
I don't mind getting rained on. I don't. I mean, if you had to like go do an event, like I wouldn't want to stand outside for 2 hours and then come in here and do the news and
Right.
stand in those wet clothes. That would make no sense.
No.
But if I'm at my kid's soccer game and it starts raining, I have no desire or need to run for cover. I just stand there. Okay, we're gonna be wet, and we'll go home and change.
And you have
That's
rain
it.
gear, right? You have
Well, I
a
don't
jacket,
have
you
that.
put
No,
a
I
hood
have
up.
jeans on, my butt's soaked, and all that good
Okay,
stuff. But I
well.
still
Do
don't
you have
care.
a hood?
I'll throw a hood up if I
Can
have
you
a hood.
maybe consider investing in some Columbia Sportswear waterproof
pants.
pants? They are kind of nice to have. I will
It is
say
good.
that it is nice to have those.
I've been
It's
made
nice
fun
to
of
have
for
a dry
years
butt,
by
okay?
friends. I don't have gloves. Typically, I don't have gloves, an umbrella, a
Only if
jacket,
someone gives them to you.
winter coat. I don't have.
Look at these hands,
Yeah.
man. He literally, they take a beating.
They're a little rough. They're a little rough. What do you do for work? I'm in construction.
You look like it.
Veronica Gaston says a true Oregonian doesn't own an umbrella. I do own about 5 umbrellas. I have one in my car.
They're so easy
by
to
the
lose.
I would get one.
But I don't
would.
use it very
But I also go out and run like in the rain, in the driving rain. I mean, I've run so many thousands of miles in driving rain.
terrible.
It's like it's
see,
not something I look forward
It
to.
doesn't really matter, but if you're going somewhere, you're going in, I don't know, shopping or going whatever, and I don't have my ball cap
To
on,
me,
yeah,
it's
I'll
too much
definitely-
at the end when you're shaking it off, and then you got this wet thing that you got to like have with you.
And then you walk
That's
into
the
these
thing that makes me not
places
want to take the umbrella.
Where
It's
like
you
the
got this
water
sock
drips
and
all
wet.
over the floor, and then it's like a huge tripping hazard.
Yes.
You walk in, you put one foot down, you're like, whoa, you know,
Yeah.
like watch out for that.
I hate coats too. You go to like I was thinking we went to the Motor Center last Sunday for this
hate coats.
Dude Perfect show, and
I love this.
I'd rather go into the Motor Center with no coat. Then you got to like put it on your seat or
Yes.
something. It's just annoying to have
Or like going to the mall or something.
accessories.
And you have the coat to walk from the car to the mall.
Yep.
But once you're in the mall, you're like, I'm hot. I'm trying, you
Now
know,
you gotta
you
hold
got
the
it on
coat.
your arm.
I go no
We
coat.
just watched this movie, by the way, the other day.
What is it?
Space Jam. It's Michael
Oh.
Jordan.
Huh.
Did you know Bill Murray was in Space
I
Jam?
did not. I've never actually seen Space.
I've never seen it either. That's a movie you could watch with Patrick.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
failed
yeah.
to watch it with my kids.
daughter loved it, which is super weird. 'Cause there's like just adults talking,
She's
and then
like,
it goes
"Who's
into
that guy?"
cartoons.
You're like,
yeah.
he's only the greatest
Now
basketball
she
player.
knows Michael
in
Jordan. We
history.
just watched the LeBron version.
What's the signal for we should wrap this up? Because you can give it right
I
now.
think you
if you'd
just
We
like.
talked about
To go,
Space Jam. I think that's the signal.
All right.
Bye, you guys. Have a good weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
Touche.